Representatives from Russia and Ukraine are meeting in Istanbul today for a fresh round of peace talks aimed at brokering a ceasefire between the warring neighbours. Our Middle East correspondent Eric Tlozek is in Istanbul and he joins me now live. Eric, good to have you with us. Now, talks have just gotten underway a short time ago. What's being discussed in the second round of direct peace talks?
The two sides, Girish, were meant to have put forward memoranda explaining their positions on how to end the war. Ukraine says it delivered its outline last week, but it's still waiting for the Russian position. And the Russian delegation says it's finished its draft, but it hasn't yet provided it to the Ukrainians. So these talks were really, in the last set of talks in Istanbul a few weeks ago, nothing was agreed on how to advance any moves toward a ceasefire, only a prisoner exchange. And these set of talks were meant to really start to get towards a framework where the two sides could actually talk about how they'd end the war. Ukraine wants a full and unconditional ceasefire, while Russia's been more cagey about how to achieve that. And the Russian position, as stated in the first meeting here in Istanbul last month in May, was that Ukraine needs to basically make a list of concessions that were pretty similar to what Russia demanded in the weeks straight after the invasion, which was the last time the two sides spoke. So the Russian position does not appear to have moved very much, and if it restates those positions again, Ukraine will simply say that they remain unacceptable.
Yes, but once again, Eric, there will be no Vladimir Putin, no Volodymyr Zelensky there. Does that mean there won't be a major outcome such as a long-standing and meaningful ceasefire?
Well, Ukraine's position is that, and this is the position of President Zelensky, which is that the two leaders need to meet, preferably with US President Donald Trump, in order to actually progress an end to the war. And Russia says that can't happen until a number of other agreements are made first. And it hasn't specified exactly what those agreements are, but it says it wants to see some technical progress made on negotiations before it's willing to put the leaders in a room together. So without them, but Ukraine's position is that everything in Russia is ultimately decided by President Putin, and without his input, there's not going to be significant or meaningful change.
Now, this meeting comes against the backdrop of a massive drone attack by Ukraine deep inside Russian territory in Siberia, destroying nuclear-capable bombers. What has Moscow had to say about that raid?
The main reaction, Girish, has come from, the commentators in Russia, the military bloggers, the hosts on Russian media, and they say that Russia needs to respond with a fearsome attack, a fearsome retaliation to this fairly audacious Ukrainian raid. And already we've seen, according to the Ukrainian authorities, the biggest drone swarm attack since the war began overnight on Ukraine. 472 Russian drones striking inside Ukraine, according to the Ukrainian government. And also there's been ballistic missile strikes this morning on the city of Kyiv, one hitting a road near a school and another landing near an apartment building, according to the mayor of that city. So there's already been a Russian response, but the urging of the military commentariat in Russia is very much for Russia to plan a big and ostentatious retaliation to this raid from the Ukrainians. But how it will influence the talks, we don't yet know.
Yes, and on the other side of this argument, Ukraine, it must be a morale-boosting win for that country's war effort.
Yes, but like many of Ukraine's, successful and audacious and innovative missions throughout the war, it doesn't change the strategic reality or the trajectory of the conflict, and that's a major problem for Ukraine. So while Ukraine has been able to pull off these attacks, we saw it with the Kerch Bridge, for example, again, an innovative, an unusual, unexpected attack. Ukraine has revolutionized the use of drones in warfare, even striking deep into Russian territory and occupying part of Russia for a period. Again, audacious, unexpected, but it didn't change the strategic reality. And for Ukraine, that reality is that in the past month, Russia Russia has been advancing into Ukrainian territory at the fastest rate it has for 6 months. So essentially, in the last month, they've gone forward the fastest they have since the start of winter. So it's not, the situation on the ground remains very negative for Ukraine, and the strategic reality remains very difficult. So it's able to pull off these attacks that earn admiration around the world, but it's unable to change the situation on the ground.
Okay, Eric Tlozek in Istanbul, thank you very much.